And what is going on, my Houston Texans family? And that concludes it. The 2025 NFL Draft is in the books for the Houston Texans. Before we jump into it, give me your draft grade down below. Did Nick Casario do a good job or not? My name is Ruben Calavillo. This is the 713 Houston Sportcast, where I drop daily Houston Texans content. So please make sure you guys are following me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok for the latest Houston Texans news, rumors, and updates. So without further ado, let's start with pick 116. Joquavius Marks, Woody Marks, running back out of USC. He stands at 5'10", 207 pounds. Woody Marks' best trait is that he is an incredibly impressive pass catcher. He'll finish his collegiate career as a top 75 reception leader and with more career receptions than Julian Blackmon, Braylon Edwards, Robert Woods, and others. Marks lacks any kind of power element to his game, which extends to his ability or lack thereof as a pass protector. Yet he could be a perfect fit for coaches who want to feature running backs in the passing attack. That's what the Houston Texans did not do last year with Joe Mixon, even though Joe Mixon is a pass catcher and running back. Bobby Slowick ran away from him. That's why Bobby Slowick is not here anymore. Look, I like this move for the Houston Texans. Running back is a need. And Woody Marks, potentially your running back of the future. Now, the question is, who is the odd man out? Is it Damian Pierce? Is it Darway Agumbawale? I'm leaning more towards Darway. I think the Texans might try to give Damian Pierce one more chance. And when you hear that he is a pass catching back, it's kind of exactly the role that Darway was. My question is, can Woody Marks kick a field goal? Moving on. Pick 187. The Houston Texans went with Jalen Reed, safety out of Penn State. Our guy Harley immediately brought up John Reed, if you remember, a couple of years ago, the draft pick by Bill O'Brien out of Penn State and was considered to be just a brainiac. Jalen Reed is a physical and in instinctive safety with a well-rounded skill set that allows him to contribute in all phases of the game. He excels in run support, demonstrating strong tackling ability and a willingness to come downhill aggressively. In coverage, Reed has the range to patrol deep zones and the awareness to read quarterbacks and anticipate plays. His ball skills and ability to make plays in contested catch situations add value to the secondary. Reed's aggressiveness can sometimes work against him by him overcommitting in both the running game and in coverage. However, he has high football IQ and leadership on the field, make him a dependable presence. Now, I think we see little of Jalen Reed this year. I think this is pure depth. But let's say if the Houston Texans are having some injuries in the nickel department, I think Jalen Reed could fit that role. I definitely see an area where Jalen Reed is used primarily this year on special teams. I mean, he's just a dog. He swarms. Frank Ross is very happy. Moving on. Now, this one shocked me. This one shocked everyone. But the Houston Texans, they go with Graham Mertz, quarterback out of Florida. Now, Pro Football Sports Network doesn't have a draft profile on Graham Mertz. Let me look on PFF. But this definitely shocked everyone, especially with the Houston Texans having major concerns at offensive line. You don't take a Cameron Williams tackle out of Texas who has been falling. No, you take a quarterback. Another question that you could ask is what's going to happen with Davis Mills? All valid questions, ladies and gentlemen. Is there a trade scenario? Because we've seen Kenyon Green. We saw Kenyon Green get traded for CJ Gardner Johnson. Is there some type of move like that in the works? I'm not too sure. And let me get to, okay, here we go. PFF, don't let me down. Hey, the draft profile from PFF. Maybe I will subscribe. um, Mertz is a former four-star quarterback who led his team to back-to-back high school state championship appearances, winning the first and falling short in the second. He was named the Gatorade Kansas Football Player of the Year as a senior in 2018 before committing to Wisconsin. After redshirting his first season, he started the next 3 years before transferring to Florida, where he was a starting quarterback in 23 and 24 before tearing his ACL in week 7. So he's coming off of a torn ACL. An older, experienced quarterback. He's 24 years old. Is he older than CJ Stroud? Mertz's decision making reflects his extensive starting experience. He generally knows where to go with the ball and when to fire, particularly over the past 2 seasons. He's also one of the more successful middle of the field throwers in the class and has ample experience operating under center from his Wisconsin days. Mertz possesses good size and adequate NFL arm strength along with decent escapability. Though he lacks high-end mobility, his experience serves him well under pressure. The bottom line, Mertz is efficient in structure with good accuracy and decision making, but his downfield passing remains inconsistent. His starter level football intelligence makes him worth a draft pick, but he may lack the deep ball ability to be a long-term NFL option. And I immediately think Graham is your quarterback 3. You can hypothesize that Graham could be your backup quarterback because Davis Mills only has one more year. And like I said, we've seen Kenyon Green be traded for a CJ Gardner Johnson. Of course, they had it on a 6th-round pick. It would not shock me at all if Davis Mills, who I think has higher draft value than Kenyon Green, could potentially net the Houston Texans maybe some help in the O-line. But this definitely shocked everyone. The Houston Texans, they go quarterback in the draft, passing up on offensive line help. And we'll get to that towards the end. But Graham Mertz, you are a Houston Texan. At pick 224, the Houston Texans went with Keontae Hamilton, defensive tackle out of Rutgers. PFSN does not have a draft profile. Let's see if PFF does. Maybe PFF is worth it actually at the end of the day. Going the extra mile to have these late round draft picks with their profile. Okay. Let me go. Let me see. Okay. Okay, hold up. I can't find anything, boy. Just give me 1 second. I am trying to get this done. All right, Keontae Hamilton, defensive lineman out of Rutgers. He also does not have a draft profile on the PFF mock draft simulator. So we are just adding to the trenches, and I don't mind adding it at the defensive tackle area because the Houston Texans, the area of, I would say, need for the defensive tackle spot is just youth. And you get that with with Keontae Hamilton. Let me try to find something on him. Okay. Here we go. Any type of draft profile. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is hard trying to find anything on Houston Texans' new seventh-round rookie defensive tackle Keontae Hamilton. Oh, quick stats. He played in 51 games with 31 starts on the defensive line. Saw action at both defensive tackle and defensive end in every game since debuting in the season opener as a true freshman. Totaled 110 tackles, including 11 for loss, 6 sacks, 2 pass defense, and a forced fumble and a fumble recovery. So it sounds like Keontae Hamilton is a defensive tackle that is primarily strong against the run, but this is depth here, ladies and gentlemen. What I do know is that whenever D'Amico Ryans gets his hands on a player, they get better. With that being said, guys, the Houston Texans, we're still waiting to find out what they do. They still got one more pick, 255, I believe, is the last pick in the draft, Mr. Irrelevant. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the elephant in the room. And this is a preview for tomorrow's video. The Houston Texans did not get better in the offensive line department. And I am worried. And CJ Stroud should be worried. It seems like there is a lot of trust in this unit. Was Laramie Tunsil really the problem? Was Chris Strausser really the problem? Because if Chris Strausser was the problem, I would want to see Laramie Tunsil. I would have loved to see Laramie Tunsil without him. You did nothing to improve the offensive line for 2025. Nothing. Question is there a trade somewhere that hasn't happened yet? Are the Houston Texans waiting for players to get cut at training camp? I don't know, but I'm very worried about this offensive line. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys let me know your thoughts on the draft. For more Houston Texans content, you guys know what to do. Feel free to follow me for more. Go Houston. Have a very blessed day.